Hi everyone, welcome back to the Reclaimed Ranch. My name is Tara and today we're gonna flip some thrifted items for spring. So found this cute little framed floral picture. It's gorgeous on the inside. Wasn't real thrilled with the color on the outside. So we're gonna take Fusion's Peony, that really light pretty pink, and just update it a little bit. I did 2 coats of the peony, and then I never tape off the mirror or the window part of it because it's real easy to just scrape the paint off with a little knife or razor like I'm doing here. So we'll just clean it up around the edges, and then you can see that beaded detail around in the middle there, so we're going to highlight that with some rub and buff in vintage gold, and it turns out just really pretty. So here's that rub and buff, and I always like to use a glove because it does really adhere very well, and so it just kind of makes a mess if I don't, and I like to use my finger. I'm a pretty hands-on person, so I'm going to go ahead and do the beads, and then I did rub just a little bit on the outer edges there just to highlight those as well. And that was all that we did to this one, but it just gives it a nice refresh, updated look, ready for someone's home. So this next one here, we're going to be using the mold Village Market from IOD. It has those really cute flowers on it, and you can see we're going to be working on that little wooden box. I got it at a thrift store for a couple bucks. And the thing I like about these IOD molds is it tells you exactly how much resin each one needs. So we're going to do the casting resin that sets up in 10 minutes. I'm going to let that sit, and while that's sitting, we're going to go ahead and paint the box in the color Conservatory, which is a really pretty green. And instead of a recipe box, I'm going to change this up and put it as a seed box. So we're also going to be using an IOD transfer from the pack. It's called Ephemeral Melange, and it has a bunch of seed packets and all kinds of really pretty floral stuff in it. So we're going to go ahead and do 2 coats with the Fusion Conservatory, let it all dry, and then we'll come back and start the fun stuff. We're going to go ahead and remove those molds, and I'm going to use my Titebond Quick and Thick to apply. And I do have the link for these products in the description box below if you're interested in buying any of those. And this is that Ephemeral Melange, which is a great transfer if you've never used transfers before. It just has a lot of really small transfers so that you can kind of get used to the feel of how they release and how they work, and they're not as expensive to buy. And you can get a lot of projects out of just the one transfer. So I'm going to go ahead and use my little X-Acto knife and kind of cut some of the lines that need to be when the top is rolling up and down. And I'm going to add the bottom piece there. Now we're going to go ahead and paint those molds, and it's still a little wet, but you just paint real gingerly and real softly, and you can go ahead and paint without it moving. And then I tried to do something a little different, but I'm just still not completely satisfied. I went in and I used the Fusion's furniture wax in this color clear here to seal that transfer, and I put it on the flowers, and I thought, usually I go dark, but I thought, well, let's try the Decrepit Dust in white for the floral to pop it out. And I don't know, I just think it looks kind of weird. I still am thinking I want to go back in with my dark wax and add a little bit to tone it down a little bit. And so this third project, I have actually the next two, I have a set of bookends. I bought these horse ones at a thrift store for a couple bucks, which is a steal. And I'm going to go ahead and use my metallics copper from Fusion. We're going to give them 2 coats of the copper. And then I'm going to go in with my DIY dark wax, like I always do, and just bring out those details in the horses. And it makes it look so high end just with a coat of paint. It's amazing to me how it just automatically changes it from like a kid looking horse to something that could be in a big library or study or something. Okay, so here's that DIY. Oh, we're going to do black wax instead of the dark wax. They pretty much do the same thing. Very, very subtle differences with the dark and the black. But it does its job. You put it on there completely, and then you use a lint-free towel to wipe back the excess. And it will just settle right into all those gorgeous details. And there we have it. I loved how these turned out. And both sets of these were really, really heavy. So they're pretty high quality as it is, but they just needed to be refreshed. So the second set, I thought, well, we did black wax on one, so let's try white wax on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and use the color Blue Pine from Fusion. It's such a pretty color. And you got to remember these, when Fusion is wet, it's a little bit lighter than it's going to end up being. Just to kind of give you a heads up on that. But I do 2 coats again of the Blue Pine. And then we're going to go in with the DIY white wax on this one. And it just kind of gives it more of a cottagey feel. Here's that white wax, and I'm going to go in, just give it one good coat all the way around, and then we'll take off the excess. Okay, well, let me know what you guys think. I think these turned out just gorgeous too. It's always fun to do just a couple different styles and not just stay in the same realm. So here's the final peek of everything, and we will be back on Tuesday with another flip from my stash below in the basement. Still working through that. So y'all have a good weekend, and I will see you then. Bye.